Hello again. Didn't expect to be making another video so soon after the New Year's video, but here we are because Friday is only a day after New Year's. So, but with the New Year's video out of the way, especially since I would only have one day of things to report, I really just want to outline what I'm going to be doing for this month and some of the plans for how I'm going to progress things throughout the year, specifically in relation to my New Year's resolution. We'll just start off with monthly stuff off the get-go. So, for my New Year's resolution, obviously it's to abstain from porn for a whole month, right? And I would like to very much do that. But, um, I'm not gonna act like I can just get off it instantaneously. I had a whole plan of sort of allowing myself to get off it for an entire week. And I was definitely hoping to implement that a little more slowly at least. And the way I projected it, this year would probably be the best time for that. So in my journal, I've decided I'm gonna start off with my New Year's resolution at the top, and in my monthly goals, I'm going to just make an evolution of what I did last month, which I can only use porn every 2 days. Now I can only use it every three. I'm going to ramp this up every month that I succeed up until like 7 days. And even then, if I don't succeed my New Year's resolution by that point, I'll just keep pushing it one more day until I either am able to abstain for a month or I'm able to abstain for a full 2 weeks. Which that part probably won't happen until next year, but if I'm able to keep it up that much and I'm able to improve that much, even if I fail my New Year's resolution, I'm more than willing to say that's a win. I set it up this way because I wanted to be able to fail one attempt in my New Year's resolution while still having a sort of small win. It's not all like doom and gloom. I didn't want to be able to get myself down, so while I'm working towards that, the big one, which should inevitably be like my end of the year, like my last 2 months, um, I can still fail while succeeding in a sense. Um, this has become a bit of an issue as of this month, though, because last month I Wednesday, the last day, was already just a day I couldn't use on, and now the day I can't, the day I have to use on is Sunday, the 4th. So I'm actually resisting for 4 days, which is a bit, it's gonna be a bit difficult. I'll admit that. I'll do my best though. That's kind of the whole point of these. I just wasn't anticipating having to go a little past, uh, or not a little past, but closer to my limits so soon. Um, the next one I chose would just be trying to get to bed. I do want a better sleep schedule, and I decided to bump it down to 10 o'clock, which, funnily enough, I already failed because I forgot that I set it to 10 o'clock yesterday. And no, not even yesterday. I set it to 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and then I forgot to actually put my sleep timer to remind me at 10 o'clock. So, just incredible fuck up. I'm gonna try to not do it again, but man, oh man, that was a really bad mess up. I really don't want to do it again. Um, and then instead of doing the eating thing or evolving the eating task goal at all, I decided I want to actually start working out in some capacity. Since I already have the habit of eating a lot more, I want to get into the habit of, at the very least, doing something physical. I live a largely sedentary life at the moment, so this will, at the very minimum, help me quite a bit. So those are the three goals. For my New Year's resolution, I obviously detailed how I want to go from month to month. Ideally, I don't fail at all, fail my monthly goals at all until December, where I can then just knock it out of the park. But I don't know if I can like fully say that. Obviously, this is 12 months we're talking about. That's a long time. There is plenty of time for me to falter and fail. Um, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, learning from failure and all that. But this is going to be a tad difficult, I think. Actually, it's going to be very difficult because I give myself like 3 months or a while to adapt to the changing scenario. With this one, I'm gonna have to learn to adapt really quickly. So that's a little anxiety inducing. I'd also be very remiss if I didn't say that last night specifically, I was feeling like total complete garbage because, you know, the weight of my goals were resting on my shoulders, and I was thinking, wow, this is tough. And since I'd usually only wait 2 days, which is probably also a contributing reason as to why I failed my sleep goal. Usually, I would just, at least at the end of the month, this wasn't a thing for the most part before the end of the month, but at the end of the month, I would be waiting up till midnight like I used to because, well, I'm gonna be able to do it. But it wasn't the second day, it was the first day, and I wasn't allowed to do it. So, yeah, just just a real mess of a situation. I was kind of suffering from a form of insomnia for a bit there until I eventually just my eyes grew too groggy to keep them open and eventually just knocked out. Um, but yeah, I imagine this is going to be quite the stressful little journey I go on, and I'm hoping that I don't I don't fall into a form of I don't fall into a habit of just doing it the exact day I have access to it. I would like to try and at least push myself to go a little further and make myself actually like move past it because last month with that goal, I was definitely just getting into the habit of doing it when I was able to, and I don't think that necessarily begets improvement. I kind of have to force myself to go a little further beyond where I'm allowed to do it. Allowed. I don't actually want to do it there. I don't want to allow myself to do it there, but I have it as a fallback just in case. I want so I guess the actual goal for this month wouldn't be to sustain myself for 3 days before I am allowed to use again, but rather try to go one more day, one more day until inevitably I crumble and can't do it anymore. Um, I kind of wanted to represent that as in the way I do my journal, because for December, I actually chose to, well, this was something I actually chose to start doing in November as well. And yeah, no, this is just something I decided to start doing in November, where on days that I didn't necessarily have to do it. I just leave blank. So for December, the 2 day stint where I am not allowed to use, I would I would leave it blank. And then the day that I'm allowed to use, I would put a check mark for if I did use, and an X for if I didn't, which I didn't leave any X's. That should tell you something. Here, I want to leave X's because when the whole point of the redeeming system is that I can use after 3 days, and any day after that, I can use or I can choose to redeem at a certain point. So once I hit Thursday, Sunday, if I do not redeem it, I put an X there, move on to Monday, don't redeem, put an X, and then if I make it to Tuesday but unable to resist any longer, then I put a check mark, and then I have the next 3 days be blank unless I fail. In which case, I I think I want to make a new thing for actual failure. I just don't know what symbol I should put there. Uh, that's yeah. I want to make a new symbol for my actual failure and not just the absence of what I'm doing. So I'll have to figure that out though. It hasn't happened yet, so maybe the necessity will come to me whenever I do that. But other than that, it's kind of it's kind of just what I want to do for both this month and how I want to progress my New Year's resolution. I'm not promising that it'll go like that, but I do want to do it like that. And here's hoping that it actually happens, right? Or at least happens somewhat similarly. I know I'm painting a very pretty picture for myself, but I'm not going to have that much faith in myself. I've seen that even though yes, I've become stronger, I'm still massively weak. So, let's go ahead and try to get that strength up a little bit and be hopeful with some expectations. I don't expect for the first half of the year I'll come even remotely close to being capable of abstaining for the whole month. But I do expect towards the latter half of the year I am going to I'm going to have a much easier time coming closer and closer to that goal. And hopefully by the end, like the last 2 months specifically, I kind of want to do the whole thematic No Nut November thing again. I think that would be rather nice, but near the end of the year, I want to be capable of completely just shedding it off. Obviously, I know it's not the end. This is more just the big step on the way towards totally abstaining. But, you know, I want to be able to do that because once I hit like 1 month, I feel like it's probably going to be a hell of a lot easier to resist for every single other month after that. I'll stop relying on it as like a habitual thing. My mind will be able to, at the very least, resist some of the more powerful urges that then, boom. Um, I know that throughout this year, I'm definitely going to have to come up with a coping mechanism for a lot of this stuff. And actually, I kind of came up with the idea that in one of them, if I ever get the urge to do it, especially before my time, I could actually just wear my gloves. Because I'm gonna be real, I don't want to do anything in my gloves. Like, literally anything. I just want to sit there. I find it easier to twiddle my thumbs and just kind of do nothing when I have the gloves on. I think I have a little bit of ADHD because I can't help but, like, you just need to occupy my hands. So, but other than that, I'll uh, I'll get back here next week on my progress, see how things go. By next week, I should at least have, I will have passed one of my redemption days, and we'll see if I'm able to actually resist, or see for how long I'm able to resist, and whether or not I can start bumping things up more drastically by next month, or at least whether or not I project I can start bumping things up. Because, again, only 1 month, and it'll only be like in total a full week at that point. So Who knows? But anywho, I will see myself next time. What do you want?